How about this one? I make apocalypse puns like there's no tomorrow. Your laughter appears genuine. I am glad you like it. What about? I don't trust stairs. They're always up to something.
What the hell are you teaching her?
Renegade has been improving my humor algorithm. Here is a joke for you. A plateau is the highest form of flattery.
Improving is a really strong word, don't you think? Your puns were always horrible, and now you're permanently branding them onto Z's code. Thank you for that.
It appears I am to be a blend of many personalities.
Z, you summoned me up here?
Yes, Captain. We are ready to land on Dagus. I thought you might like to do the honor yourself.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you, Z. Well, are you ready for a night on the town? Yeah, that's the city in the distance. In most cities, you'd land in a spaceport in the city itself or immediately adjacent, but Dagus is unique. In order to avoid traffic cluttering up the city airspace, they put smaller ports several clicks away from the city, all pointing away like the spokes of a wheel. Then you ride a bullet train into the city itself. It makes the night sky look so much more beautiful when it's free of air traffic. Yes, it is a Whalix planet. It's one of their homeworlds, actually. The populace is very welcoming to humans, so some of us have settled here. A few members of Whalix government can claim this as their birthplace, but they keep political business far away from Dagus. This is meant to be a retreat of sorts, a place pure and untainted by conflict. A place for fun, reflection, bonding, and new beginnings. Come on, let's find a watering hole. Z, be good while we're gone.
Like boiling water, you will be missed.
This is your fault. A walk around town, a tour of the Whalix Aquarium, a shipload of tasty street food, and now drinks by a lake. This has been a top-notch shore leave so far, and we're just getting started. Against my better judgment, I'm actually having fun, for the first time in a long time. This was a good idea. No, I'm enjoying your company. You've more than proven yourself to be a good person, which is really inconvenient considering I've sworn to loathe you for all eternity. Now I have to go back on my word, and I usually hate doing that. I guess this is one time I'm glad to be proven wrong. Credit for your thoughts? You want to fly the Zephyr sometime? Absolutely not. You got into accidents with no less than 4 spacecraft in between the time you got your license and the time I got arrested. 2 of them were totaled thanks to bad landings. You're not getting anywhere near the Zephyr's controls. Yeah, I heard you the first time when you said you took specialized flying lessons, but I'm not convinced. Why did you do that, anyway? The Aces had plenty of pilots on hand. You never needed to fly anywhere if you didn't want to. Even Ripley, the man who preached self-reliance, didn't pilot his own spacecraft. Because of me? What do you mean? That's why you took flying lessons? Because you missed me? So while I was out making headlines as one of the most talented pilots in the sector, you were seeing that and trying to do something to feel closer to me? You regretted losing your best friend. Damn. Thank you for telling me that. ask me something. You just shared something pretty deep with me, so sure. What did Z mean when she said she was a blend of many personalities? Oh, it's a long story. You're right. We do have time. Z is special. She's not like other AIs. You could say she's custom. This isn't helping. Let me start from the beginning. When I first left the service, I wanted to be a private contractor, a pilot taking jobs from the government in an official capacity. I had the connections, I had the skill, and I had the reputation. All I needed was a ship, so I went looking for one. You're right. A stealth class Zephyr is absurdly expensive, but I got her secondhand. Everyone knows you can get the best metal in the galaxy on Cepheus, but after a few weeks, I'd been through every dealership and every junkyard, and I'd found a few fixer-uppers, but nothing I actually wanted to call mine. As I was leaving this one dealership, I overheard a conversation, well, rather an argument, between some rich guy and the owner of the establishment. Moneybags was trying to sell what looked at first glance to be a smoldering heap of scrap. But we looked closer. It was a Zephyr, and the owner was refusing to take it off his hands because it wasn't salvageable. We gave it a once-over while we eavesdropped. It was in bad shape physically, but all of that could be repaired. The big problem was that the AI core was damaged, and Zephyrs require the AI to function. It's just a giant paperweight without the functioning intelligence, which is why the owner of the place was refusing to give him anything for it. He didn't see the value in it. But we did. We knew we could fix it up. I did say we, didn't I? Yeah, I had company. My partner, Kira. No, I wasn't going it alone. Can I finish the story, please? We offered to buy the Zephyr for an insanely low price. He was just happy to get anything for it. You know me, Renegade. I've always been a good mechanic. We rented space in a shop nearby, had him drop it off there, and got to work. Since I had spent only a fraction of my budget, I had plenty left over for parts, so I got to work finding suitable replacements and patching her up. I had her in peak form after only a couple of weeks, and with some care, I had managed to physically rebuild the AI core. I wasn't particularly skilled at programming, so Kira took over that part. The problem with Z, essentially, is that she had gaps in her code. Zephyrs have support for hybrid operations, meaning a human can operate the ship in tandem, but they also have adaptive learning. They pick up on a pilot's nuances and write it into their code to improve spaceflight. They also have adaptive personalities. While they have legal limitations written into their code, they can sort of blossom into unique individuals. The problem we ran into is that, for one, Z had been at the mercy of, essentially, a drunk. This guy often operated his ship while under the influence, and that seeped into Z. And then, of course, she took damage during a crash and lost significant portions of her base programming as well as the learned traits. When we got her, she was, well, holding a conversation with her was like trying to talk to a drunk child. And because we were buying her secondhand, we didn't have the manufacturer's warranty, so we couldn't just wipe it and reinstall the base AI code. Kira, being a programming whiz, jumped in and started cleaning it up. She got rid of all the adaptive learning pieces, manually regressed some of the processes, doing what she could to give Z a factory reset. Once all of the corruption had been removed, we were left with huge gaps in the code, most of them in the interpersonal communication algorithms. Z could fly the ship, but she couldn't communicate with us. We could have made do. I was happy. I mean, I had a beautiful, powerful ship that I paid peanuts for, but Kira just couldn't let it go. She took Z as a personal challenge. I went off-world for a few days to handle some business, and when I came back, I found Kira snoozing in the pilot's seat, empty energy stems all around her, and the servers thrumming with life. Before I could process what was going on, I heard Z speak.
"She wanted to surprise you," she said.
Kira had worked nonstop without sleep for 3 days to surprise me by writing her own personality into Z's code to fill in the gaps. The decisions she would make in a given situation, a set of morals she tended to follow, some of her preferences, like her favorite music. Z ended up being a partial fingerprint of Kira. No, her sense of humor, well, you may have noticed that Waylicks aren't particularly hilarious. They enjoy our humor and they are good-natured, but there's no such thing as a Waylicks comedian. So Kira left that part to me, to teach Z as I saw fit. But I had a fully functional AI, one that learned more quickly than the average. That was Kira's influence too. She was always so smart. She just picked things up so naturally without even seeming to try. Yeah, that's why Z always has her nose in my business and is always looking out for me. That's all Kira. Yeah, she did care about me a lot. And I cared about her. So much. You want me to tell you about her? Renegade, it's not a happy story. Yeah, I do trust you with it. All right. My final year in the Navy, I was given a special assignment. I was told a politician had found herself embroiled in a power struggle with an unknown entity. This person was leaving threats in her residence, at her office, everywhere, to scare her into not running for re-election. It was someone on the inside who was distinctly pro-human, which is a disgusting sentiment given that we were the ones that edged our way in, not vice versa, but I digress. The politician was a Waylicks. She felt that her own life was in danger, but it was the life of her adult daughter that she was most concerned with. So until she was able to root out the culprit and guarantee safety, she requested a small team to protect her daughter, and when I say small, I mean a detail of 4 combat specialists and a pilot. Specifically, a pilot who was known for getting out of tight spaces. A pilot who was good at staying under the radar. The politician was given dossiers and requested me specifically as the pilot to fly her daughter's hideout spacecraft. She knew that if we were found out, I would be able to maneuver us out of there and keep her daughter safe. She charged me with this task herself in her office, and that's how I met Kajani Lorana. A 7-foot-tall, imposing Waylick senator staring me down and telling me coolly that there would be hell to pay if any harm came to her daughter. I got put onto this high-tech stealth ship with the task of guarding what I thought was going to be a prissy princess, but then this beautiful Waylick's woman walked onto that ship, and I saw those big sparkling silver eyes, and I knew I was done for. Kira Lorana was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. And when she tired of her own books for company, she would sometimes join me in the cockpit, asking questions about the ship and asking me to give her little lessons on how to fly it. Over the weeks we were together, we started talking more candidly about life and space exploration and where both of our species had come up from, and then one quiet night she asked about my history. In the past, I hadn't cared about my criminal ties. I was proud of it, cocky even. I thought it made me intimidating, but telling her was one of the most terrifying things I'd ever done. Yet she was the only person who didn't look at me with pity or disgust when she found out. She simply accepted my story for what it was and told me she was proud of me for making the best of the situation I had. We kissed that night. A week later, the culprit was apprehended and Kira returned home to Kajani, but we remained in touch. I still had a few months left of service, but we would send each other holovids, messages, little gifts from time to time. We made plans. When I got out of the service, we were going to travel first, because I'd never been anywhere outside of my missions, and then afterward, she wanted to come with me when I took on private contracts. On my first day on my own, with no aces or Galactic Navy to dictate my schedule, she took me here, her birthplace. I had never seen anything so strange and magical as the mountains covered in pink trees and the opalescent spires of the city, the bioluminescent green algae in every body of water, and the clear night sky, the clearest I'd ever seen on any planet, and the quiet peacefulness of it all. We had so many plans. We were going to get a ship, take some jobs, and see what destiny had in store for us. It was going to be the two of us forever. But she died before any of that could happen. It's been a couple of years and I can function again, but I miss her so damn much. What happened? She was sick. Some Whalix hereditary disorder that I can't even pronounce. It took her from us in a matter of weeks. Kajani and I, we both took turns at her bedside, keeping her comfortable, reading to her. When we lost her, it ended up bringing the two of us closer together. That's why she mothers me. And that's why she hired me to help her with all of this. She knows I can be trusted because she's seen me at my most vulnerable. I can count on one hand the number of people I've trusted with that side of me. You're one of them. Thank you for listening and for caring. Aside from Kajani, I hadn't talked to anyone about Kira. And it feels better, somehow, to talk about her. Having Z around helps. It's part of Kira that will always be with me, but this helps a lot, really. And now you know. That's what Z meant when she said she was a blend of many people. Kira, mostly. Myself for the flying and the snark. And you. Your sense of humor, apparently. If you can even call that humor. I forgot how easy you are to talk to. Kinda feels like old times. Don't go getting a big head about it. What? Stop grinning at me like that. What? Whatever. Are we friends again? Yeah, I guess we are. Come here. For what it's worth, Renegade, despite everything that happened between us, I missed this. I missed you, and I'm glad to have you back. I'm glad you feel the same way. No, I'm not just saying that because I'm a little tipsy. Besides, you've seen me drunk. You know I can't lie when I've been drinking. Of course I remember Mylan's birthday party. I didn't realize Bressam had that high of an alcohol tolerance. For stocky little bug-looking things, they really can hold their liquor. But as I recall, the three of us and that Manxil kid won about 850 credits playing beer pong with a bunch of teenagers from a rival gang. The Emerald Sun, wasn't it? Remember when we helped ourselves to Ripley's supply of Earth bourbon? God, he was so mad. And we were too shit-faced to care. I remember having a vague thought that he was going to kill us. And when we woke up the next morning, hungover as all hell, I hoped he would kill us as a mercy. Always my partner in crime. Now, there's still plenty to do in the city that's not crime. And all of them are things you've never done thanks to being shackled to the aces. So we're going to do them all. The Whalix have this game that's kind of like mini-golf mixed with bumper cars. You haven't lived until you've shot yourself around a giant glowing golf course while inside of a massive golf ball that moves via jet propulsion. Oh, I'm serious. Beat me at that, and maybe we'll talk about me teaching you how to fly the Zephyr. Maybe. And then I'm going to take you to an art museum where you drink this Whalix alcohol to properly enjoy the artwork, because it comes alive only for viewers under the influence of this stuff, but it fades off in about 90 minutes, give or take. If I recall correctly, it's distilled from one of the plants native to Dagus. And then before we go back to the ship, I'm taking you to this amazing bakery. You would not believe how delicious Whalix desserts are. Did you know the Whalix import thousands of kilos of berries from Earth every year because they're so partial to them? Yep, they just don't grow well anywhere but Earth, so they pay top credits to get their hands on some. Yes, Kira did show me all of these things. And now I want to share them with you. A toast to old friends and to new beginnings.